Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Speak on It Comics, where we discuss any and all topics in the wonderful world of comics. My name is Charles, and we have a very special episode for everyone today, an electrifying episode. We're going to call it the Bat Chat.
Gotcha.
And how can we have a Bat Chat without having this gentleman right next to me? He is the ultimate Batman fan, Batman fanatic, Batman fan, and whatever. He is
Bat fanatic. There we go. Bat fanatic.
something like that. Something like that. He's an artist. He's a teacher, and he's also my brother, Eli. What's going on, my man?
Yeah, how you guys doing? How you doing, Charles? Thanks for having me. It's been an interesting week,
No
but
problem.
I had to do this show, so thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course, of course. So for all you Gothamites out there, we're going to really dive deep into this character. I'm going to ask Eli some questions. He's going to give, his perspective on what he loves about this character. And for the most part, can you tell everybody like how much you love the Batman for the most part?
Oh my God. You said a half hour, right? Long story short, I think it was Batman that got me into comics. The animated series got me to a lot of things. Comics, art, got me into drawing anatomy, got me into storytelling. That was the animated series was my gateway drug, and that started me into the Batman comics. And then the comics got me into diving deeper into the movies. And then the merch comes right after. So see, Metallica Batman shirt.
Gotcha.
Thanks.
Looks nice. I love it.
It was a gift.
Love it. Yeah. I got my Batman shirt on too. I figured.
There you go. He's rocking it.
Try to represent.
Is that a Jim Lee shirt? Who's that?
That is a Jim Lee. Yes.
That's when Batman struck Superman in the face.
Yeah, he did strike him.
Yep, that was it. That was the panel when he hit Superman. Yep.
That's right. So I had to wear my Batman shirt for tonight. So we're going to set the stage. First off, we have to give our condolences to Kevin Conroy, who we did lose this year. He is the voice of, if anybody who don't know, he is the voice of the Batman from the Batman animated series. He's also been the voice of Batman in several of the Justice League cartoons, the Batman animation movie. He has solidified himself as the ultimate Batman voice. And we also lost Arlene Sorkin, who is Harley Quinn. She was the voice actress for Harley Quinn in the Batman animated series, as well as some of the other, I think, Batman and New Adventures and some other voice work that she's done. So condolences and, shout out to those guys. So definitely going to be missed. First off, Batman was created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger. All right.
Yep.
And he is recognized as one of the most iconic and enduring characters in comic book history. Let's start with Batman's origin. Let's talk about that. What about it that you found that was so really set the tone for the Batman's mythos with that whole incident?
Well, I could say when it comes to trauma, since I'm a counselor, I work with kids and I work with adults too. And I start to realize how trauma correlates from what happens to us as a child to what we don't deal with to when we become an adult. And that's why people have anger issues growing up, because abuse at home, or, it's amazing how it's connected. It's so simple too, you'd think. With Batman, it's the same thing. The interesting thing I like about the character, I love the character. It's going to be interesting when I say what I'm about to say. But he's, I tell people with trauma, you're either a hurt child, because we all are, or you're a child that decides to have that spirit of a child, meaning that you look forward, like God said, have the spirit of a child, meaning the faith of a child, right? Batman's a hurt child. When his parents were shot in the alley, he was about 10, right? Figure around that age?
About that. Yeah.
So he watches his parents get slaughtered in front of him in a traumatic way. Right. So then the poor kid, at that moment, Bruce Wayne dies. Right. That's it. Like the kid or the man that Bruce was supposed to be died in that alley in front of his bleeding parents, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then you grow him up, and the reason why he fights crime and the reason why he made this promise was because that's a 10-year-old's promise, right? So as
Mm-hmm.
much as we want to like say we're gonna, my brother's a cop, or I'm a fireman, I'm gonna exterminate every fire, and he's gonna, fight every criminal, it's impossible, right? So it's like with Bruce,
Mm-hmm.
he's made a promise he's not gonna let that happen to another child.
Right.
um you ever read Punisher and Batman? There was an interesting, that was one with Bruce, not the one with Azrael. There was an
Okay.
interesting story with Jigsaw and Joker, I believe it was. And Joker was saying how the Punisher was, he had his trauma as a man, and that's why he kills, you know, criminals, because he knows killing criminals is finite, is done, right?
Mm-hmm.
With
Mm-hmm.
Batman, he figured he was a child because he gets dressed up as a superhero, right? He puts on tights. He uses
Right.
infinite resources and toys to beat up bad guys, and he won't kill because a
Right.
child might be more afraid to kill than an adult would. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? A
Mm-hmm.
child, you put a gun in front of a child, even though the person that child is going to shoot might be a bad person, there's still going to be that moment of, the terror. So the thing about Bruce Wayne's trauma is, I believe, in my opinion, he never got through it. He
Okay.
doesn't want to get through it. He uses it as his drive, and it's like, in a way, it's what makes him him. So Bruce died in that alley that night, and Batman was born, and he ain't going
Mm-hmm.
anywhere.
I mean, Batman's origin story. I mean, obviously, it's about redemption and atonement. The murder of his parents reflects that theme, of suffering and loss for the, and so it's definitely something that I think any kid that goes through something like that, lose the loss of their parents such a young age, a pivotal age, and some people may look at it and say, "Hey, well, you know, he has money, he has all these different things, he has all the advantages," but it doesn't take away the fact that his parents are gone.
Hmm.
Any child, no matter what class the child is, the loss of his parents is definitely something that's going to
Yeah.
impact them regardless. So I do like that they took that. It didn't matter what his class was, so I do like that that infliction never left him. It's almost like he keeps reliving that over and over and over and over and over again, which is interesting. So Batman, we all know, is they usually refer him to as the world's greatest detective,
Greatest
right?
detective.
So
Hmm.
what to you is one of your, or several, one or two favorite detective moments?
Well, this is this is gonna be unconventional, but the thing that I loved about him, how methodical he was as a person,
Hmm.
as a detective, and I like it kind of in terms of not so much solving crime, but kind of what's chaos control. So there was a Justice League comic in the 2000s. I don't know if you remember it, Charles. I think it was Mark Wade wrote it.
Mark Waid.
Yeah, I think it was in the
Okay.
40s, maybe 42, something like that. So it
Okay.
was about, so Ra's al Ghul and Talia find all of Batman's schematics on how to defeat all his friends. It's called Tower of Babel. Great story. Like that story stuck with me. Yeah, it makes Batman look like an a-hole, but it's like, think about it. Like he really figured out how to not kill his buddies, but
Hmm.
kind of um hurt them enough that they'll be either crippled or in a lot of pain. So, like with Superman, he figured out how to make red kryptonite to a point that red kryptonite would soak his body. The sun will feel it, but it's almost like he has no skin, no protection. So Superman is screaming in pain, right? So Ra's al Ghul used that. He weaponized that against Superman with Martian Manhunter with nanites that kept burning him constantly. So poor Martian Manhunter was set on fire, like for a very long time. Batman figured
Right.
that out, how to put those nanites in his skin, and Ra's al Ghul weaponized that. Then there was also Aquaman was hit with something. I don't know. Oh, he took Scarecrow's fear gas, weaponized that to put so Aquaman would be afraid of water.
Mm,
Aquaman can't really completely use his power if he needed, and the poor guy would
right,
die in X amount of time too,
right,
right? Like
right,
that's really messed up, right? Wonder Woman and Flash got him with some nanites. One went to Wonder Woman's mind and literally put her in a coma to a point where she was
right,
having these like delusions, and then the Flash was vibrating to a point he couldn't control himself, and I think
right,
somehow he even had Kyle blinded. So the detective part of me is how Batman is so smart that he'll figure out almost any way to of even though let's be honest, like that blew up in his face constantly. And you see that a lot in the Batman comics. Remember the OMAC project
yes,
where Batman tries to do crowd control and he really messes up. Let's be honest. That's why I
right,
like the character too. He's human, you know.
yeah,
He makes mistakes, you know, much as he doesn't want to admit it. So my favorite detective moments is Batman figured out how to take
right.
out every single Justice League member without completely killing them.
Yeah, that was an interesting. You know what's so funny? I think was that the villain? Was the villain? Was it Ra's al Ghul or
Right? Yes.
was it Ra's al Ghul? Okay,
Yes.
I wasn't sure if it
Yeah.
was because I think I thought it was what's his what I think in the cartoon they had a different
Yeah. The
villain.
cartoon. The cartoon wasn't that great. I mean, I was really disappointed because I love Tower of Babel. That's one of my favorite Batman stories. It's messed up, right? And also too with Raish, the way he got Batman out of the Batcave when
Hmm.
Talia, because Batman was that's Batman's baby mama. I'm sure she knows how to get into the Batcave, amongst other
Sure.
things. But anyway, like
Right. Right.
he took the graves, like the coffins of Batman's parents, and had Batman chase it half across the world. So he knew Bruce was going to stop what he's doing because of that trauma. Going back to question one,
True.
he's going to stop what
True.
he's doing, not think
Hmm.
about, wait, is this somebody trying to get my attention? Is this a trap? No, like a little kid, he ran to mommy and daddy, and Raish banked
Yeah.
on it, and that left everything else open to attack. So when he got back, and they were calling Batman for help, but Batman was so fixated on finding his parents, he did not pick up that phone.
Mm.
I know
Mm.
not a lot of people are like, yo, that's messed up for a Batman story, but I mean, it's one of my favorites. It shows
It
his
is.
human
It was. It
side.
was. Well, you know what? It makes sense for Batman, someone like Batman, to understand how to neutralize his in case something happens. If they get mind controlled
Mhm.
or whatever the case may be, he has a way of neutralizing them. Because I think Ra's al Ghul tweaked it to make it more extreme, but
Yes, he did.
Batman only wanted to neutralize his colleagues. He didn't want to kill them. So I
He
didn't,
wanted to put him through a lot of pain, though.
well, I mean, yeah, I mean, he has to take them down. I mean, you got to think about it. These guys are more powerful than him, except for Green
Yeah,
Arrow. So the
definitely.
thing
Yeah,
is, he's dealing with god-like
yeah,
abilities.
yeah.
Flash with the speed of Mercury and Superman, all these different characters. So it makes sense for him to have something that's going to take them at least slow them down as much as possible. So to speak. So, okay. Okay, so let's go to. So speaking of Ra's al Ghul, let's go to the fact that Batman has one of the most defining rogue galleries in comic book history, and
Like behind me.
as far as his villains is concerned, who do you think? And I know it's easy for us to say the Joker, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we understand the contrast of order and chaos. But besides the Joker, in your opinion, what is the villain that's most fascinating and what makes them so captivating?
What makes them all? I think Batman villains are interesting because they're all underlined with trauma, right?
Hmm.
And that's really what I don't know if they meant to do it, but like if you read like a lot of the origins of these characters, even if the Killing Joke is Joker's origin or not, even that was built on trauma. Two Face. That's why I love the animated series too. The characters were so realistic because of what they went through and how they didn't deal with it or how they decided to get revenge. If I was hurt, I'm going to hurt back. As opposed to where Batman, I was hurt. I don't want others to get hurt. I'll hurt the bad guy. I
Right.
won't kill him, but I'll make sure they don't wake up happy. Um, the interesting
And
thing
which one
about
do you think what stood out?
the one that
What's
stood up,
which one that stands out to you besides the Joker?
The one that stood out to me, I would say, was Clayface. I remember seeing
Okay.
Clayface the first time in the cartoon. The
Mm-hmm.
interesting thing about that episode, I think I talked about this in the villain episode, so I'll be a little
Mm-hmm.
quick with this.
Okay.
So you had Matt Hagen, who was an actor, gets into a car accident, his face is all scarred up. And it was funny today. I'm watching TV, and there's some magic cream that takes away wrinkles. I was like, "Oh, Clayface!" But anyway,
Right. Right.
literally, I saw it today in the firehouse. But anyway, so Matt Hagen, he was this big actor, and then the scarring of his face messed him up.
Right.
And then because they figured Daggett was the guy that created the cream, his company, and then he wanted to use this guy as a guinea pig, have him do dirt to make him to get the stuff to make him look real, make him look fixed. Long story
Mm-hmm.
short, they don't need Hagen anymore. They overdose him. Like he overdoses. I don't know if you remember that scene. I think you posted it on the villains one when they just poured all that gook down his throat, and then
Right.
Clayface turns to Clayface. The interesting thing about that character too, if you watch the episode, Clayface had a partner in it, right?
Mm.
So the interesting thing about the TV, as a kid, I was looking at him like, huh, this is this guy that really cares about him. I thought it was his brother. They don't really go into it, but at the time, it was like, wow, is that guy like his friend or his partner? You
Right.
know what I mean? As a kid, I was interesting. Like I don't know, didn't like one way or another, didn't really cross my mind. But watching it again as an adult, I was like, wow, because the guy really went all out for him. So Clayface had people that cared about him. And the thing is, he let his trauma get the best of him and vengeance get the best of him. And in the comic books, you had Boris Karloff, same deal, a failed actor. And then
Mm-hmm.
even if you read I think Detective Comics when he teamed up with Batgirl or Batwoman, I should say, Batman, Robin, and they all teamed up. Like Boris was trying to be a good person. So
Mm-hmm.
Clayface is interesting because as much as he's a monster, he still tries to be a man. But then he
Right.
loses identity because of who he is. So I like how they play with that whole mental, even physical aspect of that character. Like he can be whatever he wants, but he has no idea who he really is.
Yeah. Clayface is one of those characters. We've yet to have seen him in other
I was just
versions,
about to say that
especially,
the
it's
movies.
interesting. I think that if I mean, I enjoyed the Batman,
Me
that
too.
they just came out with Matt Reeves, and I can see them putting a version. I don't know if they can exactly mimic what the Batman animated series did with Clayface or even
That'd
the
be
comics for
awesome.
that matter, but I can see them trying to do a version of that. You know what I mean? Maybe he's waxed faced or something of that nature, and he has a way of maybe having like Groot, like that type of like aesthetic where he can, you know, maybe I don't know. I don't know how it would look in that universe in the Batman universe, but
Do
I
you,
would see them. I could see them doing something like that.
do you remember there were like three Clayfaces? I
Hmm.
think I don't know. I think Boris Karloff could have been the one. Like Boris, forget it, Boris Karloff, like
Yeah.
the guy. But anyway, it was like he was in this like Mr. Freeze type outfit, and when he touched
Right.
people, like they'd melt and burn up. Remember? You
Yeah.
just made me
Yeah.
think of that person. That'd definitely be, and it's like his face was all messed up, but he was in this suit because if the
Right.
suit couldn't contain and he was in love with a mannequin or something. Now I got to read the old books. And there was a female one, but I wonder if Matt Reeves' Clayface is going to touch more on that one. You just made me think of that
Yeah. Yeah. I would think that he would be able to pull that off.
because it was
You know.
creepy.
Yeah. He definitely knows how to do creepy. So Batman has worked alongside um an array of allies, right? We're not just, I mean, obviously the Justice League, but Robin, Batgirl. Um, so, what to you is your favorite dynamic? Like, is it Batman and Superman? Is it Batman and
Um,
Batgirl? Is it Batman and Catwoman? Like, what's your favorite dynamic with Batman?
a dynamic or team up comic wise.
Team up.
I think
It could be comic. It could be
so. I think when
animation.
it comes to dynamic, I'll just answer
Hmm.
the question quickly with two versions. When it comes
Hmm.
to dynamic, I think Catwoman's and Batman's an amazing partnership, but at the same time a
Hmm.
tragic one because
Yeah.
neither of them can be completely happy with one another because of the lives they lead. They are so much
Hmm.
alike, yet they're so much different. They love each
Yeah.
other with all their heart, yet they can't really be together for very long.
Hmm.
Um, I think that's a very interesting dynamic when it comes to who they are as individuals, especially the whole, you know, what you call it, relationship part.
Hmm.
When it comes to team ups in the comics, one of my favorites, Batman and Spider-Man. That was,
Really? Okay.
oh man, I
Okay.
love that one. By Mark Bagley was the artist, and they had Joker and Carnage and
Yeah,
um, oh
that
man,
was
I
amazing.
read that one
Yeah.
so much. Remember that they were like lobotomizing them and stuff. The story was really
Right.
simple. But
Yeah.
then there was another one, Batman in Darkness, that I loved too. Do you remember Darkness from Top
Yes.
Cow? Jackie
Yes.
Escato, I think his name was. He was a
Hmm.
hitman.
Hmm.
The cool thing about that comic was when Batman and him crossed paths, because Batman, this guy was a hitman. He's killing people in Gotham as part of the mafia, other side or whatever, the bad the ones that he's against. Batman stops him. He fights all these little demons because the darkness can create little demons and big demons. And so when Batman ends up saving Jackie's like female love interest from his youth, Jackie kind of starts to see what he's doing is wrong, and that
Hmm.
character starts changing his life around. The interesting thing is too that team up. Very few. You never hear Batman talk about, "Hey, I let you know. I wonder how that kid with the spider eyes are doing back in New York." You never hear
Hmm.
that. But in
Right.
the Darkness comic, you did see him talk about the Bat guy in Gotham and how he made him think things out. I thought that was
Yeah.
amazing because you team ups usually are one and done. You don't mention each other in each other's books. It's over. Maybe because Top
Right.
Cow was affiliation with DC at the time, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like it
Yeah.
blew my mind. Oh my god, they're actually mentioning like yeah. So those were like two of my favorite team ups:
Nice.
Marvel
Nice.
and Top Cow.
Nice. Okay. So the Bat family, right? Very significant aspect of Batman's world. Um, how have characters like say for example like Nightwing, right?
Yeah.
Red Hood,
Mm.
Batwoman, over the years, like with their unique qualities, what do they bring? What do you think they bring to Gotham City for Batman?
So there was a Robin Dick Grayson, aka like shout out to Matthew, my baby brother, partner in crime. Um, the interesting thing about when Robin was brought into Batman, so you had Batman and her child, right?
Hmm.
The original Batman was shooting people and breaking necks and all that stuff. If you look in the 30s, right? He wasn't very
Right.
nice. You bring the Robin dynamic in. Yes, we know Robin was made because they want kids to read comics and all that, blah, blah, blah. But the interesting thing about Robin was Robin brought life to Batman, right? So you have this
Hmm.
young, and the people are like, oh, why did Robin wear colorful clothes so you can get shot at? I think with when Batman and Robin teamed up, Batman let his guard down with this kid because through Dick, he saw a childhood that he could
Hmm.
never have, but he lived vicariously through Dick Grayson's life. And that's why if
Right.
you look at the 1960s, Batman's smiling because here he is hanging out with his little brother slash son. They're having a good
Hmm.
time. Matthew always used to tell me too, like I went through what I went through so he didn't have to, and that's a
Right.
big thing. It's like the thing you live vicariously through that's why also as a teacher, I love it. Like I feel young. So then you look at Dick Grayson as a character, Batman let him be him. Yeah, there were times Batman tried to control him. We know there's comics when Batman was being a D word.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm allowed to
Hmm.
curse on here, so I'm trying to like bite my tongue. But
Right.
but at the same time, if you look at them growing up together, like
Hmm.
Batman needed that Robin in his life. He needed that youth. He needed to see himself vicariously through this boy. And because
Hmm.
Batman allowed Dick to be, Dick, the kid ended up becoming a good man. There were comics where Batman said, "I don't want you to be Robin. I don't want you to be Batman because you were doing so well on your own, and I'm proud of
Hmm.
you, and I don't want to take that from you by giving you the mantle." Remember when Azrael became like Batman chose
Yeah.
this crazy guy
Yeah.
out of nowhere instead of Dick, and Dick was like, "Yo, what the hell?" Um,
Hmm.
so I think, and when it comes to the Bat family too, like Batman needs Alfred. If Batman didn't have these people, like Batman says he's a loner,
Hmm.
bullshit, he has these people in his life that make him better. He might
Yeah.
be a jerk, but he loves Alfred like a dad. Alfred is his father, you know.
Yeah.
Dick Grayson is his son. We
Right.
got Damien, but by the time he got to son number 4, he already had 3 others, like before,
Hmm. Hmm.
Catwoman and Batgirl, and it's like he needs them. they keep him grounded. If not, Batman could have easily became someone like Frank Castle.
I think so too. I think the interesting thing about Batman and his war, I would say his war on crime in a way, is that he needed someone to pull his coattail. And I think that
Hmm.
having, Commissioner Gordon, obviously having Alfred, obviously, which is like almost like a surrogate father in a
Hmm.
way, and then having all these young, people around him, like with Robin, Batgirl, Batwoman, who is his cousin, right? And having all these different people part of his world, it does help him to understand that no, I mean, even though he might not want to be alone or at times feel like he's alone, he's not. And so I think
Hmm.
that that really helps him in certain ways. Because you're right. I think that he's on that cusp of becoming, even becoming what he fears most of
Hmm.
becoming. You know what I mean? So I think that they do keep him grounded.
Do you remember what was it when Joker cut his face off? Death of the Family. You ever read
Yeah,
that?
that was the death of the family. They
Later,
did
yeah.
like maybe a few
Few
years
years,
ago.
while ago.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
was yeah.
It was interesting how Joker figured out, right, that Bruce. Well, they say that Joker knew who Batman was. We don't know, but he figured out that for Batman to be the best version of him, the fearless
Yeah.
one, probably the one that would kill,
Well, which Joker? We have three now.
you
So
know. So whatever that one was, right, the one that
right,
just
right.
cut his nose despite his face. But what he
Right.
tried to do, he broke up the family. Like he knew
Yeah.
he's almost like, I'll kill your family because they're holding you back. You
Right.
can't be your true self. And Joker was like, that was when he was kind of in love with Batman in a way. He's like, I love you, so I'm willing to free you of these parasites that hold you back. Of course, that'd be like what the devil would say, right? Your
Mm-hmm.
family is holding you back. But the funny
Mm-hmm.
thing was, like, Joker kind of had a point a little bit because Batman, the family kept, like you said, kept him grounded. So
Mm-hmm.
Joker knew you get rid of the family, you break them up, even though he broke them up in trust at the end. Still, remember the ending of that? He still
Definitely.
had them kind of questioning each other's motives because of the everything that happened, since he couldn't kill him
Right.
physically. But it's interesting how, like, even in real life, it's our family that keeps us grounded a lot of times.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. So as far as Batman is very famous for his utility belt,
Hmm.
and he has quite a few gadgets in this particular belt. Um, in your opinion, share what you feel is the most inventive. I mean, I would say the shark repellent one,
Oh
but
man, you just beat me, bro.
I'm
Charles
sorry.
You beat
I'm
me to
sorry.
it.
But go ahead. Do you feel like the shark
I
repellent? I
honestly,
mean,
the shark repellent was amazing. Like, can you imagine? We need it now, especially in New York. Shoot,
right.
imagine like out of all the things a man can carry, and then we know it was 66 when he's hitting the rubber shark. I mean, I still have love for Batman 66.
Me too. Me
Uh,
too.
I had a love hate, but when I realized the comic book history, I started loving it again.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the shark repellent, and it made an appearance in the comics recently too.
Yeah, it did. It
You know what
did.
I mean? So it's like somebody who wrote the comics, it was Detective Comics, maybe the last couple months or last
Right.
year, decided, you know what? We're gonna put some shark repellent there, old chum. I mean, come on, like the Batarangs cool, the grapple hook's awesome, especially the animated series, like that
Yeah.
little gun thing he shoots out.
Yeah.
He has like everything except for bat protection because the whole Damien incident. But anyway, I digress.
Right. Right.
What about
Right.
you?
Sorry about that. No, I'm with you with the shot. I'm with you with the shot. That was the ultimate. I mean, I mean, we all know Batman has a bunch of gadgets, but the shark repellent was something that I was like, wow, he even has that.
Yeah,
So he thinks of everything. I mean,
yeah, he does
let's just, he's
almost
just one of
everything.
those, yeah. Oh, almost
Damien.
everything. But he gets out of sticky situations. So let's talk about the Batcave. It's been I would say a technological marvel, right? For the most part.
Mhm.
One of the and what are some of the coolest features you think with the Batcave?
Come on, the little kid in me, Jurassic Park, kidding me? The one I saw with my dad and my friends and like 12 years of age.
Yeah.
The T-Rex. Come on. Like think about it. That's how much of a kid Batman is. He took a T-Rex, I think it was in the 1940s, a Dinosaur
Mm-hmm.
Island comic or whatever. He literally
Right.
took that robotic T-Rex, like, you know what? I'm gonna take that home. This was pretty cool. This thing
Right.
almost killed me, but it looks really cool. I think it's like really cool in the cave. It's like a collector. It's like when we buy a big statue. You know what? I got room for that. We kind of don't, but we do it anyway. And it's like that to me. And also the T-Rex. It's also called it Fido. I don't know who called it that. Could have been Damien,
Yeah, I
but
don't know who called it that either, but
Fido. So
yeah.
like the T-Rex actually has like these security things features in them too. So not only did he keep the robot, he weaponized the damn robot. Like, come on, that's freaking awesome. I remember the animated series showed it. The robot when the last season, or when Tim and Damien fought on it. Or when
Right.
poor Alfred has to dust it. Poor Alfred.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that has to be the giant penny's awesome. The big Joker card, like Batman bike gets big stuff. Like I understand, I really do. He's a collector. He's like a big kid.
No, he definitely is. He definitely is. It's no telling. I mean, I think between him and Superman, because Superman have some things in his fortress
That's
to go
right.
to too. He really does. He
He
has
has a big
some
zoo.
he does. He has he has intergalactic stuff that's in there.
Yep.
That's in his fortress. So interesting. Those two guys. So now as far as like let's talk about his moral code, right? Let's talk about Batman's code. He doesn't kill, right? I mean, we said that he used to sort of be that, he kind of blurred the lines in the beginning, right? When they first
when
created
they
the
were trying to
character,
figure out who he was.
right?
But that was what the pulp comics and the pulp stories were, just about your detectives with guns and
Correct. Correct. And and the detective comics was already something that was, they were already telling crime stories. So they adding the Batman character, it just continued that. But he was just in costume and he was, shooting people. He was, but
saying funny things while he did it.
But now his refusal to kill, right? He's refusing to kill villains, like what do you think as far as like for the character and the themes explored in Batman stories where he don't necessarily kill? Do you think that that's something that's effective for the character? In your opinion?
Okay, well, I always tell my students too, because they always ask me why didn't Batman just kill the Joker? I'm like, then they'll sell less comic books. But from a realistic perspective, I think with Batman's psyche being so fragile, right? Because we talked about it from the first. He's still a kid in trauma. If he was to kill someone, he'll break you. He'll put you in the hospital. My favorite line is in The Dark Knight Returns when he's like breaking the guy's, like, I think he's pressing on a spinal cord or something, and he's like, the guy's screaming in pain, and the cop's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Don't worry, he's young. He'll heal." You know what I mean? Like, he's young, he'll heal. But like, so Batman he has it in him. And there were times when he, in a monologue, when he's talking to somebody that he cares for, he's like, "I should have killed Joker." Especially when Jim Gordon's wife was shot in the head with when she was holding the babies in the after the Cataclysm event. So like Batman would say these monologues, "I should have killed him," but Batman knows if he did, I believe that would snap him because he's so fragile. It will put him in a dark place, almost like those things we know we shouldn't do. I think from a psychological point of view, when it comes to Bruce, if he was to cross that line, I think the repercussions of that, it's almost like you get a taste for blood, it's over. So he gets a taste for it. It's a possibility he might do it again and again, and also maybe you see it as an easy outcome. Because it's probably easy for Batman to kill. And even he told Joker once or twice by choking him, "I could snap your neck into two." And Joker's like, "Why don't you?" And when Joker likes, he goes, "He's in it. I don't want to, I won't kill you." But I think from a realistic aspect, because killing always has its. I'm sure it has, like, you look at PTSD, you look at military, police, you look
Hmm.
at anyone that unfortunately had to make that choice at some point. It
Hmm.
there's repercussions to it. Like, you just can't kill
Yeah.
and the next day you're like, let's have cereal. If you did, then you're the Joker. But yeah.
Yeah, you're a sociopath. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A psychopath. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think because one of the things that stood out to me, one of the I remember reading The Killing Joke, and remembering when the Joker had, obviously shot Barbara Gordon, and
Mm-hmm.
he kidnaps Commissioner Gordon, and he kind of strips him bare
Yeah.
naked, and he tortures him,
Yeah.
and even through all of that, he still doesn't break Gordon, because his whole thing is to break the ultimate cop that can never be corrupted. That was his whole
Yeah.
plan. And by shooting his daughter and doing all of those things to him, he felt like, I want to try to break this guy. And
Yeah.
even after all of that, when Batman shows up, the first thing Commissioner Gordon tells him is that if you kill him, I'm coming after you, so to speak. So even in the presence of where this guy has done some of the most heinous things to him, he still maintains his dignity
Yeah.
in the law and order,
Yeah.
and he wants Batman to stay that way as well. He doesn't want him to cross that line. So I do think that it's important for Bruce to not go there. I know that there's going to be unfortunate situations that may end up that way. I mean, let's be
Yeah.
honest, but at the same time, it's not intentional,
Yeah.
so I do. Yeah. So I'm just gonna end it off with a final question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've seen Batman in animations, movies, video games, TV shows, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, or what would you like to see, you know, that has not been shown yet for the Dark Knight?
Wow. I don't think there is anything. He's even on the radio now.
Hmm.
The audio, Batman
He's
audio
DJing.
experience.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah, no, well,
yeah,
like the
yeah.
old 19. I still got it's on HBO Max.
Uh-huh.
So you know what? I thought about this question long and hard, honestly, and honestly, they did him in everything
Hmm.
from what I could think of. The only thing I could think
Hmm.
about is what I would like to see
Hmm.
if they ever, like, like the whole Spider-Man team up and Darkness. What I would love to see is any type of version of, like, since the '90s, right? You had Gargoyles and Batman was on. I remember switching
Right.
what new episode was what. I would love to see those two worlds mesh, because in a way, Gargoyles from Disney was based on that look of Batman, because they knew the animated series was doing so well, and they were like, you know what,
Hmm.
let's do it based kind of on the superhero genre versus the fun cartoon genre, which I love too. So what
Hmm.
I'd like to see in any way or form, whether it be comic book, whether it be animated, whether it be film, I would love to see, like, Batman and Goliath team up, or the Bat family
Interesting.
with the Gargoyles family, because in a way they were kind of like, what's the word? They're like brothers, but from other mothers. They're like what do you
Mm.
call that? Not step brothers, half brothers.
Right.
One was born on Fox and the other one was born on Channel 11, WPIX, New York. And it's like, because Batman was born first, it begot
Hmm.
this other show that I love them both very well. So that's the only answer I could come up with when it comes to cinema and stuff, because I can't really think of anything else that Batman hasn't been in. Can you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would love to see a Batman Zorro team up. I know there's no way that
There we
could
go.
probably
That's
happen because
that's
they're in
origin
they're in
right
two
there.
different. Yeah, that's that would be an interesting dynamic. I mean, they all both kind of favor each other in so many ways. I would love to
Zorro
see
birth
that.
Batman too. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely, oh, you know what?
Hmm.
I'm actually going to do some quick things, some quick little questions for you, little
Uh-huh.
quick little, you know. So, Batsuit,
Hmm.
classic or armor? Which one's
Ooh,
better?
classic.
Okay. I think we already did sidekicks already. So,
Yeah, Rob them.
Batmobile, classic or futuristic?
Oof. Futuristic.
Okay. All right. Most memorable Bat quote, in your opinion.
Oh,
Most memorable. I know he has a
wow.
lot.
Oh
I know
my
he has a lot.
god. Oh my god. Um, shoot. Right now I'm hearing them all in my head. It's like, stop the voices! Stop the voices! I like the one from The Dark Knight when he was breaking the legs and the arms of the mutant. He's like, son, this isn't a mud pit. It's a operating table, and I am the surgeon. That's one of my favorite lines. He's like breaking the guy's arms and stuff.
Right.
Or
Right.
in memory of the beloved Kevin Conroy, I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. God rest his soul.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
one of my
totally amazing.
favorites too.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Okay.
can think of more, but I better stop it too.
Now, out of just the Batman adaptations, as far as just the movies is concerned, what is your favorite? Who is your favorite Batman out of all the movies? I won't say Batman animated
Out
series
of the
because
movies?
we have to leave it out of the
Okay.
animation. Just movies.
Okay,
Just
okay. You know
the
me all
movie.
too well. You know what? They all have their charms.
Mm-hmm.
In '89, he played kind of like the little
Even Clooney.
cookie a little
Even
bit,
Clooney.
huh? Honestly, I
Even
can't.
Even Clooney.
I don't blame Clooney for that movie. I blame the movie for that movie. Like in the
Mm-hmm.
end, like poor George blamed himself, even though he was spoiler 3, 2, 1. He was
Right.
the end of the Flash, so he's at the two
Yeah.
worst Batman films of all time. Poor George. Stay away from Batman, Clooney. Val Kilmer played the Bruce Wayne really well.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen Bale. You know what? If I had to pick, and Ben Affleck was the angry Frank Miller-ish Batman. So I like
Right.
them all, and then he became a little more well-rounded when he found peace.
Yeah.
I think out all of them, you know what? I'm gonna have to say Christian Bale.
Okay.
Now that I
Okay.
think about it, I mean, I
Fair
do
enough.
love the original Batman's '89,
Mm-hmm.
but there was something about Christian Bale's Batman that had a little bit of everything in it, and it could be
Okay.
I could be biased because the second movie was one of my favorite films. I
Mm-hmm.
can't even say if you say '89 and Dark Knight, it'd be so hard for me to be like, which one I
Right. To
want to
see.
watch first. I might gravitate more towards the Dark Knight,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. But that's a hard freaking question, bro. Now I'm second guessing, but I'm like, I hear like two voices in my head. I'm like, but '89 Batman, Michael Keaton, and he started the animated series. You owe him, and then it's, I'm Batman. Like the Christian Bale Batman. Where is she? Like I don't know. But at this moment, at this time, it could change. I'd say out of all of them, unless you said just movies, right?
Just movies.
Oh yeah,
Just
out of all the
movies.
movie,
Mm-hmm.
okay. I don't would say probably Kristen Bell because we got three of them.
Okay.
You know,
Okay. Yeah, fair
even though
enough.
my brain is still saying Michael Keaton, I'm like Two-Face right now.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
What
They
about
all
you?
did add a great. They all added. I mean, I've always been sided with the Michael Keaton because
Yeah,
it's a bit of a nostalgia for me. But
yeah.
I do appreciate the Christian Nolan movies. I mean, there's certain things I wasn't big on, but there were certain things I understood what they were going for, and I love the Batman. I thought, and Robert Pattinson really surprised me. To be
Yeah, he was
honest,
great
he
too.
really did. He was one of the most surprising because I felt like Christian Bale. You kind of can see it. You can kind
Yeah,
of see it with even Ben Affleck for the most part. But Robert Pattinson, I was like,
yeah,
wow,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Oh,
That's why I
I
didn't
I was
judge.
really shocked.
I
Yeah,
didn't judge. I was like, let's
yeah,
see what the kid can do, and he did great.
yeah. He did an amazing job. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do next. I know that they're talking about, I think, Mr. Freeze. I know they've been talking about. Um, there was
Clayface.
I know the Joker was mentioned. I don't know if he's going to be the main villain. But there's been so many talks about what the next villain would be. I don't know. It would make sense that Mr. Freeze, because Gotham is like engulfed in water, so it
Yeah,
makes sense. But
yeah.
who knows? Who knows what they might go for? They can even go with Killer Croc if they wanted to.
That'd be awesome. I'm hoping they give us characters we haven't seen in cinema yet, like a Man Bat or
Hmm.
Clayface or Croc. I mean, we honestly, sorry, Arnold, we didn't get a Mr. Freeze.
No,
They
we
did
didn't get it.
Bane
We didn't.
justice with,
Yeah,
even though his voice sounded, like this,
yeah,
but he
yeah,
still was an awesome. In my opinion, he was still a pretty cool Bane,
yeah. I think he
considering
did. I think he did. I think he did a
Tom
great
Hardy is a
job.
great
Man.
actor too. He did a great job, but we haven't seen a really good the best Mr. Freeze so far as animated series.
Yeah, yeah, and such a tragic story too. That'd
Yeah,
be great.
it
Put him
really
to
is.
Heart of Ice, and
Yeah.
it'd be. I would like to see the ventriloquist.
Oh man, that'd be creepy too.
That would be really creepy.
It'll be right up there
Yeah,
with
Chucky
Chucky and
vibes. Yeah,
Annabelle and
Annabelle.
the
Hmm.
dummy from Goosebumps and all that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, I definitely appreciate you, man. I really appreciate all your insight, all
It was
your,
fun.
yeah, it was nice, man. And definitely I want to hear from you guys as well. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'd like to know what you guys think about the character as well. Who was your favorite Batman in movies? Moment? What was your favorite
Mhm.
Batmobile? What was your favorite? Whatever it came to Batman, what's your favorite? So
Animated
like
series.
definitely. Yeah, of course. Batman animated series. But this was definitely fun and fascinating world of Batman. And thanks to everyone. Thanks to you, man. Thanks to everybody from tuning in
Thanks for
and
having me.
joining us. And to our listeners, remember the night is darkest just before the dawn. Yeah. So until next time, guys, don't forget to speak on it. And bye bye for now.
Stay encouraged, people.